Be in no doubt, those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. So no, I won't shy away from calling it what it is: far-right thuggery.
So the Prime Minister tonight reacting to what has happened over the course of the last 48 hours. His conclusion, very simple: it's all the far right. As if they're causing all of the problems. No, the far right are a reaction to fear, to discomfort, to unease that is out there shared by tens of millions of people.
You have failed me.
Thank you.
Okay. I've been a Labour voter my entire life. You have failed to be the opposition. Thousands of people have died because you have failed to do your job and ask the real questions.
The media are there just to hide the real things and the reality of what is really going on in this country. And there's people been on the streets and demoing for years, absolutely years, and it's all hidden. Yeah, they may show some, but then they will lie about that. Like, for example, today this will get portrayed as a far-right rally, instead of just showing concerned people and mothers and fathers that are concerned for the children and their future generations.
Well, I am telling you now, and I hope this goes out, you have failed this country.
Well, let me be clear. I don't support street violence. I don't support thuggery in any way at all. But I'm worried not just about the events in Southport, but about societal decline that is happening in our country.
Thursday night in Hare Hills in Leeds showed what senior police will deny and what politicians will deny. This is a fact. In the UK, there are particular neighbourhoods that are no-go areas where the police simply are afraid to tread. And that's not going to change as long as we have concentrated populations in neighbourhoods who shun our rule of law, who do not share our vision, our cultures, and who quite frankly have almost very little in common with us. And until we start reaching out as police officers, not in a fluffy, flaky, kneely kind of nonsense way, but in a way that proudly says, we are the police, we are here to enforce the law, we are here to detect and prevent crime, and we're unashamedly going to do that. Until that happens, these kind of situations are only going to repeat themselves.
Law and order, folks, on our streets is breaking down. This Prime Minister hasn't got an earthly clue how to deal with it. We need to start getting tough. We need to use stop and search, regardless of the colour of the skin of anyone that gets stopped. We need tougher prison sentences for anybody carrying a knife. We need folks to get real, because I tell you what you've seen on the streets of Hartlepool, of London, of Southport is nothing to what could happen over the course of the next few weeks. Let's have proper law and order. But Mr. Starmer, just to blame a few far-right thugs to say that's the root of our problems doesn't work.
The words that he said in that statement showed an angry nation that he just doesn't get it. The idea that the eruption of fury that has been witnessed across this country in the last few weeks on all sorts of issues is some kind of far-right outrage is so utterly misconceived that I've been left wondering how he's got to the level of Prime Minister with such weak political antennae. Now, yes, there are some far-right people involved in those skirmishes, and certainly no one is condoning that behaviour. But what about the eruption of violence in Leeds? What about the behaviour in Manchester Airport, where, to the best of my knowledge, those thugs, those hooligans that assaulted police officers have still not been charged, while the police officer themselves concerned, well, at least one of them has been suspended and is quite likely to lose his career over what happened. People up and down the country are so frustrated by what they see as one rule for them, one rule for us.
We need Nigel Farage in, we need Donald Trump in, we need people like that in. Anyone that tells the truth gets targeted as a far right.
Came down from Southport. I'm actually from Southport. I've come to show my support for what happened to the children. I do know actually a family of one of the children. You know, it's caused devastation. The children were massacred, and it's not right what's going on, and this government needs to do something about it.
These divisions are not being stoked by the far right. They're certainly not being helped by the far right, but they are felt very, very deeply by an awful lot of peace-loving people who simply cannot believe what has happened and what is happening to our country and the speed with which it is descending. You know, a more politically astute operator would have stood there and said, I understand that mass immigration, uncontrolled immigration, the literally hundreds of people that are coming over by the day on Labour's watch is creating a great deal of deep concern in this country. And furthermore, that concern is legitimate. That concern is not far right. That concern is not racist. That concern is fully justified by the horrendous impact on our communities, on our public services, and on so many people's everyday lives.
Here we go. On the left, you've got someone Musk says made a racist comment, got 15 weeks jail. In the middle, someone who sold anti-immigration stickers and for that got 24 months in prison. And on the far right, someone who repeatedly raped a 12-year-old girl and got a 2-year suspended sentence doing 180 hours community service with no prison time, asking what the hell is going on.
Whatever the apparent motivation, this is not protest. It is pure violence, and we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or our Muslim communities. So the full force of the law will be visited on all those who are identified as having taken part in these activities.
One of the other things that has led to such ill feeling in the country is two-tier policing. Now, we had a fierce debate last night here about whether two-tier policing exists or not. Well, I'll tell you something, there is a very widespread perception that it does. Let's just see this from Craig Guilford, Chief Constable of the West Midlands Police, speaking earlier on today.
Salam alaikum. There is one tier of policing that applies to all of us, and that means that we police without fear or favour. Shukran.
I don't think coming out with foreign languages addressing one particular community in the West Midlands makes an awful lot of sense, does anything to dampen down speculation about two-tier policing. And extraordinarily, Emlyn Richards, the superintendent of the West Midlands, was asked, how was it that a large number of masked men, some carrying dangerous weapons, were allowed to go outside that pub in Birmingham? One man came out, was beaten to a pulp, was finished up with a lacerated liver, windows were smashed, the pub doors were locked for safety. How is it that wasn't being policed? And extraordinarily, what Superintendent Richards said, we had the opportunity to meet with community leaders prior to the event to understand the style of policing that we needed. So you ask a group of counter-protesters, what policing do we need? And they say, absolutely none whatsoever. And the police say, that's fine. What I'm making is, nothing is being done by the police or by the government to get rid of this perception of two-tier policing.
I have been very critical of the police in the past, particularly around the attitude of some police forces to the protests that we saw since October the 7th. You know, I thought it was quite wrong that somebody could shout Allah Akbar on the streets of London and not be immediately arrested, or project genocidal chants onto Big Ben and that person not be immediately arrested. That attitude is wrong, and I'll always call out the police for it.
Let's talk about the migrant crisis. Quietly, while people were protesting about it, another 355 came across the channel yesterday. 114 on Monday, 113 Sunday, 128 Friday, and so on and so forth. Getting on for 4,000 to 5,000 migrants have come into this country. It's over 4,000, I think, since Labour was voted into power. Question is what are they going to do about this? They don't seem to be doing anything.
If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to spread more awareness. Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Your engagement helps us bring more content to light. Remember, stay informed, stay engaged.